Election results are rolling in from primaries across the country. That's where we're starting the 7 from the Washington Post. I'm Izin Akabawal, in for Hannah Jewell. It's Wednesday, June 3rd. Let's get you caught up with today's 7 stories. It was a big primary night in California, Iowa, and 4 other states. Let's start with the latest from California. Voters there went to the polls yesterday to decide who will advance to the November general election to replace the term-limited Democratic governor, Gavin Newsom. At the time of recording, the race remained uncalled. But Health Secretary Javier Becerra led a crowded Democratic field after unexpectedly leapfrogging his opponents to become a front-runner. He shared his vision for California with a crowd late last night.
As your governor, I am ready to lead the fight to uphold California's promise. To make sure we have the governance worthy of our gifts. To ensure everyone, regardless of where you live, what you've learned, who you love, how you look, everyone has a rung on California's ladder of opportunity.
Republican Steve Hilton, a former Fox News host, had the most votes with roughly half the ballots counted early this morning. He also addressed supporters last night.
We can make California a place where when you work hard, it's not just a struggle. That's why my plan is so simple and practical, not ideological. We've had enough ideology in California, haven't we? It's time. It's time for positive, practical things.
The final result could take days as officials count mail-in ballots. In Los Angeles, voters went to the polls to pick who would advance to the general election to run America's second most populous city as mayor. Incumbent Mayor Karen Bass, a Democrat, came out ahead, but she failed to get 50% of the vote, meaning she will have to defend her seat in November. She will face either Spencer Pratt, a former reality TV star, or City Council member Nithya Raman. It's not clear which candidate will advance. The other big results came from Iowa. President Donald Trump's pick for governor, Representative Randy Feenstra, lost his Republican primary in a blow to Trump's dominance in GOP nominating contests. You can find our takeaways from races across 6 states in the 7 newsletter today. Find a link to that in our show notes. The Trump administration abandoned its plans for a $1.8 billion payout fund after a Republican revolt. That's number 2. Over the past week, Republicans have expressed anger over plans for a fund to compensate people who claim they were unfairly investigated. It led to an unusual standoff between the White House and Republican lawmakers, who refused to fund immigration enforcement agencies over their concerns about the payout fund. Yesterday, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche said the Justice Department would abandon its plans for the $1.8 billion fund. Here's his exchange with Democratic Representative Grace Meng of New York during a hearing of the House Appropriations Committee panel overseeing the Justice Department.
The reasons for the fund, I think, it remain as important as they were before, but we are not moving forward with the fund.
Oh, not moving forward ever?
Correct.
Oh.
The Trump administration's retreat on the fund was a rare instance of congressional Republicans defying the president and prevailing. Their newfound defiance signals a sharply shifting political dynamic that could have major consequences for the rest of Trump's term. Number 3. The Post created a 3D visualization of the interior of President Trump's proposed 250-foot arch. For years, some enthusiasts of classical architecture have argued that Washington needs a triumphal arch. They've said that a new monument would be a good way to mark America's 250th anniversary this year. President Trump took the idea, enlarged it, and is now pushing to begin construction on a 250-foot tall arch as soon as possible. The planned monument, which would be built in a traffic roundabout, would represent Trump's most significant change to the DC skyline. Much of the debate on the arch has focused on its exterior, but the Post has created the first 3D visualization of its interior. Trump officials have argued that the arch would offer a new way to experience Washington thanks to its planned observation deck, which visitors would access via elevator or staircases. If you want to see how the arch looks inside, you can find a link to the model in our newsletter today. Number 4 is a Post exclusive. The Pentagon hired a convicted January 6th rioter for a sensitive counter-terrorism job. On the day of the Capitol attack in 2021, Elias Irizarry was 19 years old. He joined the mob of Trump supporters who breached police lines and broke into the building. Prosecutors said he was wielding a metal pole when he entered the Capitol, but that he never struck anyone. He later said that he regretted his participation in the attack. Now Irizarry has been hired by the Trump administration to work inside a Pentagon office that manages highly classified military operations. His appointment has raised alarm internally among staff who question how anyone convicted in the assault on American democracy could be trusted for such a sensitive role in the US government. In a statement, Acting Pentagon Press Secretary Joel Valdez said that Irizarry is a qualified, patriotic young professional. 60 Minutes correspondent Scott Pelley has been fired. That's number 5. Earlier this week, we told you that Pelley had a fiery confrontation with his new boss in front of other staffers. Pelley questioned the credentials of Nick Bilton, who was appointed executive producer despite having no experience producing broadcast television. Yesterday, the veteran correspondent was fired. The termination is just the latest shakeup during a tumultuous period for the iconic CBS News show. In a statement to the Post, Pelley said new management Paramount Skydance were damaging the program's reputation. He also claimed that he had been asked to add falsehoods and bias into a politically sensitive story. Number 6. The science around weight loss drugs and cancer is suddenly getting very interesting. GLP-1 drugs have transformed the way diabetes is treated. Then they massively changed the way that weight loss can be treated. Now, new studies are fueling optimism that the drugs may have a role in prevention and treatment for breast, colon, and lung cancer. This year, the American Society of Clinical Oncology met in Chicago, and there were over 40 studies, abstracts, oral and poster presentations looking at GLP-1s and cancer. The results were strikingly consistent. Looked at together, they suggest people who take weight loss drugs may develop certain cancers at lower rates than comparable patients who aren't on the drugs, and that those diagnosed may experience slower declines and better outcomes. One cancer researcher described the findings as super promising. To find out more about all the studies, read our newsletter. You can find that in our show notes. And at number 7, an 89-year-old man is planning to climb Mount Kilimanjaro for his birthday. Los Angeles resident Art Ulin is currently training. He wants to break a world record and become the oldest person to summit Kilimanjaro. It won't be easy. Kilimanjaro is the world's highest freestanding mountain, and the hike will take him 13 days. But Ulin has climbed the mountain twice before, once in 2011 and again in 2013. In 2022, he had to cut one of his climbs short after feeling unwell. To prepare for this hike, he climbs the stairs 3 days a week. His goal is 50 flights or 55 when he's really challenging himself. After all of that, he lifts weights. Ulin's 90th birthday is on July 13th. If all goes to plan, he'll spend it somewhere above 19,000 feet on the highest mountain in Africa. His top piece of advice to all of us is to live up to your potential and not your age. All right, you're all caught up. If you haven't signed up to the 7 Morning Briefing, today is a great day to subscribe. You'll be able to find links to all the stories mentioned here on the podcast and even more that we couldn't fit in. The newsletter is totally free, and you can find a link to sign up in our show notes. I'm Izin Akabawu. We'll meet you back here tomorrow.